So in this video, we're going to be dealing with quarter notes. And quarter notes look like these filled in note heads, which is like a circle, all colored in, and a stem either sticking down or it could be sticking up. On this particular sheet, all the note stems are pointing down, but they can point up also. Now, each one of these quarter notes is going to be worth one beat because we're following the rules of 4/4 time. So if each one is worth a beat, they would each be worth one number and labeled with a number underneath them. And since there's 4 quarter notes in a measure, the first one is 1, the second one is 2, the third one is 3, and the fourth one is going to be labeled 4. Let's throw on the metronome and try counting this first measure. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and that was the first measure. Let's try it one more time. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice job. Now let's label the next measure, which is exactly the same as the first one. And we're going to leave the next 2 measures blank. And we're just going to count them anyway, even though we haven't written it in. Starting from the beginning of letter A. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the end of the first line. Piece of cake, isn't it? So now we're going to move on to line B. Now line B is still dealing with quarters, but instead of notes, now we're dealing with quarter rests, which are these funny looking symbols, which look a lot neater when they're typed than when I write them. Now each one of those symbols is worth one beat of rest, the same way a quarter note is worth one beat of playing. So when I have rests, I like to label them with the number on top, because that means we're thinking the number, but we're not actually making any sound with our voices or with our instrument. So here you see I've labeled the first 2 measures worth of rests, very neatly I might add. And it continues through the rest of line B. Now there's really nothing to say here because we're not actually making any sound. But I wanted to introduce to you the difference in the visual presentation of a quarter note versus a quarter rest. So let's jump right down to letter C. On the rest of the sheet, we're only dealing with quarters, so every symbol that you see is going to be labeled with a number. The question is, do we label it on top or below? So in letter C, we're starting with a quarter note on beat 1, a quarter note on beat 2, a quarter note on beat 3, and now a rest on beat 4, which we're going to label up top. That might be the worst looking 4 I've ever written. Moving on to the next measure. Because we have a bar line here, we need to reset and start over at 1. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this entire line has notes on 1, 2, and 3, and rests on 4. Let's try counting that together. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Notice we never said 4 because the 4 is a rest and there needs to be no sound during that. If we want to be really particular, we're going to make sure we hold our quarter notes all the way out to the end of the beat without putting any space in between it. Let's try that one more time and see if we can hold our notes the full value. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, the metronome cut out there for a minute, but that's okay. Let's move on to line D. I want you to take a minute to try to figure out what beat did I put the rest on each measure on this line. Hopefully, you came up with the answer 3. The rest is on beat 3 of every measure. I'll write in the first 2 measures again, and you can do the next 2 on your own. Let's try counting at a little slower tempo. Ready, and 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. The tricky part about counting through rest is that you need to think of that number in your head, but the next one that comes out of your mouth is going to be a different number. So it might feel weird to count 1, 2, 4, but if you count that 3 in your head, then you should be okay. Let's move on to letter E. Letter E, we have the rest on beat 2. We label 1, the 2 is above, we have 3 and 4. And it's the same for the rest of line E, so I'm not going to write those in. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. Let's try counting letter E. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. And the next example has all the rests on beat 1 of the measure. So what's going to feel funny about this is that we never actually will say the number 1. It's a little funny to write the number 1 because the F is in the way. So I'm going to write this for the first 2 measures so that you can see what it needs to look like. All right, let's try this at a moderate tempo. Ready, and 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. All right, now we get to the fun stuff where we get to deal with the rest being placed in all different areas. All right, so let's try writing this in. We've got a 1, we've got a rest on 2, and we have notes on 3 and 4. Try to figure out the second measure before I write it in. Hopefully you came up with 1, 2, 3 on the top, and 4 on the bottom. Take a look at measure 3, see if you could figure it out on your own. All right. Hopefully what I come up with, the same thing you came up with. We have a 1 on the rest, followed by 2, 3, and 4. And in the final measure, we have 2 different rests and 2 notes. See if you can figure out where you think the beats go for this one. And we've got 1 on top, 2 on the bottom, 3 on top, and 4 on the bottom. Why don't we try counting that together? Ready, and 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4. Nice job. I'm going to put that 1 on again, a little bit faster for you. Let's see if you could try doing it on your own. 1, 2, ready, and. All right. Nice work. Hope that was helpful, helping you learn how to count quarter notes and quarter rests. And I'll see you again soon with a video about eighth notes.